and welcome to another weekly update. A day later than normal, so apologies for that. Just had some personal stuff, family stuff we were doing on the Monday. But lots of things to talk about this week, so I'll try and keep it within the 10-minute window. And let's go. So there's a new blog post around using Copilot in various different scenarios. If you remember, there's a whole series of these, and I thought they were quite good, and I've been kind of trying to bring attention to them because I think it's important for this Copilot stuff. If it's going to be successful, then we need to kind of really bake it into the way we do work rather than just being like a thing we try for a bit and then put down because it's not kind of ingrained into our working. And so these blog posts that kind of remind people of the different places in which it could be useful, I think are helpful. And this one is all about Teams Phone. And this is separate from meetings. This is like calls. So like it's like one-to-one or maybe group calls that you're having with people. I would not have thought to use Copilot in this scenario. And I think that probably speaks a little bit to, a bit unlike meetings, calls feel very personal. They feel, they're normally with one other person, sometimes with more, but very often with just one other person. And I tend to try and kind of, unless we're working on something, I tend to try and ignore the computer as much as possible and just focus on the experience of the talking with the person, making that connection. Especially since lockdown, a lot of people I talk to, I've only met virtually. So it feels like really trying to foster that connection is important. However, there are some really useful things in this blog post. I think it's worth a read through. And this is less about the kind of development against this stuff. It's more about, people living their lives, doing the work. And so, I thought this was interesting. There's some cool stuff in here. I like, getting a list of unresolved questions before you transfer a call to someone else. Really nice as to be able to send that as a chat to somebody to say, hey, can I transfer this call onto you? There are some unresolved questions. Here they are. And know that you haven't really missed anything. The summarizations of conversations as well. I think that's really interesting. Getting information about past calls and stuff like that. This blog post is worth a read through. But again, it's more about just changing our own perceptions and our own workflows about how we do things. So I'm going to try and do this more intentionally on calls and just try and see if Copilot is something that can help with those one-to-one calls and not just meetings, because I know by now the value of using Copilot in meetings. That's been proven to me, I think, time and again. I've found value in that. I've not really tried or explored it for one-to-one calls, so that's what I want to try. Okay, blast from the past, Skype for Business. This will be relevant to only a small segment of the audience, I'm sure, so I'll keep it quick. Skype for Business Server 2015 and 2019 have both announced that from 12 months from now, support will end. So that will be October the 14th, 2025. Your upgrade path, you've basically got two. The one that Microsoft has been talking about for a very long time is go to Teams, but I know there are lots of companies where that is not possible. The alternative is there is going to be another version of Skype for Business, this Skype for Business SE edition. We don't have a release date for that yet, other than that it's in the second half of 2025. Now, obviously, that means that you are targeting a upgrade to a product that is not yet out yet and will be out around 4 months before your support ends. So you probably need to do everything you can to make that process as seamless as possible. And depending on the size of your organization, 4 months may not be long enough. And I don't know what you do about that. But what Microsoft say, and there's a blog post about it, what Microsoft say is that the best path probably is from 2019. You will be able to go straight from 2015, but it looks like maybe it's easier to go to 19 or better to go to 19. So they're recommending if you're on 15, try and get to 19 this year or before October next year, so that you're in a better place you need to get to 2019 before sort of the middle of the year next year, so that you're kind of in a good place to make that jump. There's a bunch of other things that also get retired as well. Exchange Server 2016, Exchange Server 2019, Office 2016, Office 2019, Outlook 2016, Outlook 2019, and more. So here's the blog post. You can go and read it. If this impacts you, you probably, hopefully, know what to do about it. But yeah, it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be a kind of slightly harem-scarum period of time there between the countdown clock for your support ending, and knowing and understanding what the latest version entails. I don't know what to say. If this is you, then you have my sympathies. All right. Okay, let's talk about something else. There's a new version of the Teams app manifest. Well, apparently we're supposed to just call it the app manifest now, not the Teams app manifest. There's an updated version 1.19, and this includes all the Copilot stuff. It includes the Copilot agent stuff, the declarative agents, and some other stuff as well. So this page, which is the app manifest page, has the link to the actual schema. So if you just want to look at the schema, you can do. But it's also details. This is the page that has the sample app manifest and breaks down all of the required and optional sections. And this is kind of the reference point for lots of developers who are wanting to build the schema or update a schema themselves, because very often the schema update happens slightly ahead or behind the tooling. So you sometimes need to make these changes yourself. And if you're old like I am, then this is always how we used to make app manifests manually. So why not just carry on doing it? So those are the big kind of changes for this version. It's all the Copilot agent stuff. So that's good. That kind of unlocks some of those Copilot agent capabilities. And I imagine as well, it was important for them to get that stuff out before Ignite as well, so that they can lead lots of kind of labs and demos and experiences for developers wanting to get into this space about, here's how you can create your Copilot agent and have all the manifest stuff all in place. And it also supports all the stuff, they've released and all the work they've done around all this agent stuff. So that's all very good. And actually on the agent stuff, kind of nice segue, which I didn't really mean to happen. There's another blog post out by Jared Spataro. So he's the CMO for what is now called AI at Work. And this is all about autonomous agents and agentic capability. And this is kind of a real push Microsoft are doing to kind of try and get in front of, the next wave of AI and this Copilot stuff, which is this agentic. This term agentic, you'll hear more and more. I hadn't heard it at all before about 3 months ago. But now I imagine we're going to hear it all the time, especially at Ignite and going into next year. Autonomous agents, and really where Microsoft are leading right now is around the savings, the cost savings, and the efficiency savings of having a autonomous agent do things for you. It's a little light on detail, and it's a little light on what exactly that means, but I feel like we're paving the way for the next round of development innovation. So the work that developers in Microsoft are working on right now that we might see released or talked about at Build and then released over the summer towards Ignite, that sort of thing, in the same way that some of the agent stuff and the declarative agent stuff that we heard about in Build and got delivered over the summer. This feels like the next round of that. So it's kind of fully autonomous stuff. I'm a bit on the fence. I think I wait to see what it is. I feel like some of this stuff is not so different from, some of just the kind of automation that we've always had in IT. Even to things like automatic processing of mail and, macros and scheduled tasks and all those kind of things. But I wait to be impressed. I think there are places where this plus Copilot, all of those things with a kind of Copilot layer and veneer on top could be really useful. So I do wait to see what that looks like. But yeah, for now, this is the kind of, feels like the opening salvo a little bit. And it's not the first time it's been talked about, but I feel like the drumbeat has started on this. All right, everything I want to talk about this week. I hope you have a good week, whatever it is you're doing. And I'll speak to you again next time.